Sakafet YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Let's cook with me from start to finish. Hello my darlings, it's so nice to have you back here in my kitchen for yet another amazing recipe. We're jumping straight into it. So here I've got my ribs. I've already washed it, cleaned it with lemon juice, vinegar and cold water. And then to season it up, I'll start by adding in some oil. Then I'm going to add my favorite seasonings, so a bit of salt. I'll add in some mixed herbs. I'm also going to add in some all-purpose seasoning as well, followed by some paprika, and then I'm also going to add in a little bit of my homemade green seasoning. I did share a recipe for this a couple days ago, so you can check out that video. And then I'm going to mix that in really well using my hands. Okay, don't mind getting your hands dirty, get your hands in there and rub it in. Okay, then I'm also going to add in some browning, 1 bell pepper and 1 onion, and then I'm going to bake that up for about an hour and a half. Once my ribs were seasoned, I went in with my dish and I also added a little bit of oil at the bottom. Then I'm just going to place them in here like this. I did let it marinate for about half an hour. I didn't have too much time, so I let it marinate for about half an hour. But if you have lots of time, leave it overnight for best results. And I'm going to be baking these on 180 degrees Celsius covered. I like to bake it for 1 hour first without interfering with it. Just let it bake, do its thing. And then after 1 hour, go ahead and baste it and remove the foil and all that good stuff. Okay, so this is how it's looking. I also like to add in a little bit of water in the bowl that the ribs were seasoned in and pour that in. That just helps to get all the leftover seasonings that's left behind. So about half a cup of water, and then just pour that in this like that. Then cover it up and pop it in to bake. For the mashed potatoes, very simple. I have some potatoes that I got in my fridge and I'm going to use this peeler just to peel them off. Very self-explanatory, and once they're all peeled, I like to give them a good wash before chopping them up, washing them again. I spend so much time washing things, it's crazy. And yes, my darlings, once they're all peeled and chopped and all that good stuff, I'm going to cook them for about 20 minutes. But the one thing that I will say is, even though I am prepping everything, I won't be cooking my potatoes and the veg and anything else until the last 20 minutes, because it will make it so much easier for everything to be nice and hot. So usually I just prep everything and just leave it on the stove, and after I've checked my ribs the first time, I then go ahead and then cook everything else, so that way everything is nice and hot. You don't want to have cold mashed potatoes on the stove while the ribs are cooking. Okay. Once my potatoes were prepped, I did set it to one side, and now I'm gonna go ahead and prep up my carrots. So go ahead and peel up your carrots again using my favorite peeler, and guys, it does such a smooth job. I think I got this for less than £1 from Home Bargains, and this is the best. I honestly usually buy about 2 to 3, so anytime one breaks, I always have a backup because I don't ever want to be without a peeler. So I'm gonna take my carrots and I'll show you how I chop it up. As you guys may have seen in my other videos, I have lots of ways on how I prep my veggies because I love my plates to look look really beautiful. So if you have only one method of chopping it up, that's absolutely fine. But as you watch this cook with me, you'll realize that I use a lot of the same ingredients but prep them different ways, and I think that's the whole beauty of it. So yes, my darlings, go ahead and chop it up till it looks like this. And then over here I've got some okra. We love okra in my house. I love it the most. I had a lot of it when I was pregnant with my baby, and yeah, I love it. And I like to cut off the ends and cut it in half. The reason I cut it in half is sometimes you find that, you know, it can have things on the inside, and if you leave it whole, you will not know. So I feel like I'm traumatized now when it comes to leaving things whole and cooking it, especially veg. So this is how I do mine. I always cut it in half, and then later on I check it very well and wash it and all that good stuff. Once I was satisfied that my okra had no unwanted visitors inside, I did go ahead and give it a good wash. I'll season lightly with a little bit of mixed herbs, and I'll also add in some all-purpose seasoning. Then I'll add in a little bit of butter and cover that up, so that's all prepped. And I'm going to do the same thing for the carrots, but today we're making some brown sugar herb carrots. And yes, my darlings, so go ahead and just wash your carrots as normal and then season lightly with a little bit of mixed herbs. I'll add in some all-purpose seasoning. I'm going to add in some curry powder, some brown sugar, and some butter. And this is how I make my brown sugar herb carrots. So tasty. And yeah, guys, make sure to check down below for all of the ingredients that I use. And yes, honestly, the carrots are so tasty when you make them like this. Once my ribs had been cooking for the past 1 hour, I did go ahead and check it, and guys, it's looking so good. It's not cooked yet, so go ahead and baste it, of course. And basting simply means using the juices of whatever it is that you're cooking and pouring it back on, so that prevents it from drying out. Okay, so yes, my darlings, this is looking so good already. And yes, so if you want it to be super tender, you can actually let it go for about an hour and a half cooked, and then without the foil for half an hour. But I find that it still worked really well even when I gave it 1 hour and half an hour uncovered. Okay, so for the best results, go ahead and give it an hour and a half covered and half an hour uncovered. Okay, so this is what I find. But yes, darlings, once my ribs went back in the oven, I know it's go time, so I put my potatoes to cook, and then my okra has been steaming as well as my carrots. And yes, my darlings, this is literally how I love to do it. So sometimes you always ask me, Terri-Ann, how do you keep everything nice and warm when you're cooking? Sometimes it means putting the meat to cook first and leaving it, prep everything else, so when it's time to go, you pretty much just have to turn the heat on. Okay, so yes, darlings, once the potatoes are cooked, I go ahead and drain off the water. Then I mash it using some butter, and I use my heavy cream or double cream, whatever it is that you call it in wherever you are. So mash it, add your butter, add your double cream until it's nice and smooth to your own consistency that you like. And yes, my darlings, and I did mention that my kids love mashed potatoes so much that I think I make it 3 times a week, honestly. So it's been about 5 minutes and my carrots are looking so good. I'm gonna mix that in well so all the seasonings and everything can coat it fully, but the carrots are fully cooked, and this literally takes no more than 5 to 8 minutes because sometimes I love to keep it on low heat so that way it can sweat and steam. I don't add any liquid to it, so it pretty much just steams in butter, and it's so good. And okra is pretty much ready as well, so we can go ahead and turn that off. So the mashed potatoes are ready, the carrots are ready, the okra is also ready, and the ribs, we're just gonna check on it last. And this is pretty much how I do dinner. So this is it all done, guys. It looks so good, and trust me when I tell you, it was so flavorful. The ribs were so tender and everything came out so perfect. This is the final plate, looking absolutely delicious. So I really hope you enjoy this cook with me. Try it soon, let me know what you think about it. It has been a pleasure having you here, and I can't wait to see you in my next one. Thank you so much for watching.